Oh yeah, it's time for another Universal Studios update. We're starting the journey off here at City Walk, where work is progressing nicely on the new Raising Cane's. I have a feeling they're going to try to get this thing open in time for Halloween Horror Nights. It's big business. And then over here at the Olympic Checkers store, yeah, look at this. They have some new signage going in. Yeah, I know I've been calling this store different things throughout its build, but that's just all part of the fun. And it looks like there's a lot of work happening on the inside, so I'm not really expecting this location to be done in time for Halloween Horror Nights, but you never know. You never know. And they are changing up the front facade a little bit too. And before I continue any further, hello everyone, welcome back to another Theme Park Obsession video. My name is Dylan, and thank you so much for tuning back into the channel. Yeah, we're cruising around Universal Studios Hollywood today. I mainly wanted to check up on Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift, but I'll sprinkle in a few other things here and there. So without further ado, how about you and I dive right in? Yeah, King Kong is really excited for this next location that I'm gonna be talking about because work has progressed on the all-new Mr. Barbecue. Yeah, they now have a bunch of signage out here and some new construction fences. OC's #1 Korean barbecue, soon to call Studio City home. Oh yeah, this place is gonna be so popular, so no wonder King Kong really is excited. I mean, it isn't all you can eat Korean barbecue place, so myself and King Kong are gonna go pretty wild in here. They actually might close down the day after King Kong and I eat at this location. And just like that, I've made it through security, so let's head on in. It's not too busy up here in the plaza. It is 3:34, so yeah, most everybody's already inside the park. Officially made it in the park, and you know what? It is a beautiful afternoon. It's not really that hot either. I mean, it's warm, don't get me wrong. It's not like it's cold or anything, but it's a really beautiful day. And look at this, breaking news straight out of Epic Universe. The popular mac and cheese cones from Epic Universe have made their way here to Universal Studios Hollywood. I'm not gonna try one in today's video, but it is pretty funny to see them here in California. They're really popular out there in Florida. And you're gonna get them right over here at the City Snack Shop. This is right next to Pet's Place in the Universal Plaza. And you'll be able to grab one for $13.99 or $15.99, so it's a little expensive. Okay, we're jumping right into it with HHN, and here's your latest look at the Parisian Courtyard Haunted House, which is Monstros III. I'm loving all the details this week, and look at this. Props are starting to show up on the facade, so very similar to what we've seen in the previous couple years for the Monstros haunted houses. We see these creepy props that you would typically see in a cemetery. So once again, the same theme continues, but all of this gets me hyped up because the facade looks so gorgeous that I'm just really stoked for what the interior is supposed to look like. If this is any clue as to what the inside's gonna be looking like, oh yeah, my body is totally ready. And also from the French Street side, you can see that crews have been installing the audio and lighting for the haunted house. This goes in near the tail end of the project, so we're nearing the finish line, which is very exciting. Moving on from HHN, here's your latest look at Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift. The all-new roller coaster opening up here at the park next year. Thinking it's going to be very, very early next year because the pull-through test is moving along really nicely. And as you can see, they've made so much progress in such a short period of time. And speaking of that pull-through test, there is the coaster car right there. It's made its way up towards the bunny hop over the fire road that is behind the attraction. Well, behind the attraction's main show building. This road that's right here is like emergency access, and that's why they had to do a little bunny hop over that. But that is where the coaster car is sitting for this evening. And I gotta say, crews have been crushing it. OMG, in just a short period of time, they've made their way from the dive loop all the way through the LSMs, up into the block break, and through this element right here, through the corkscrew. That is very impressive. So huge shout out to the crew members once again this week for just killing it. I mean, this is why I'm thinking that this roller coaster might open, well, I mean, it will soft open, I'm thinking by the time Grinchmas rolls around. It's definitely a big possibility just because of the pace that they're moving at. And then when you talk about pace, look at the sound wall. So just a couple weeks ago, they only had this section complete as far as the main skeleton. And now they've been working their way all the way up towards where the escalators are. I mean, look at that. That is very, very good progress. Now, I wanted to talk about this section really, really quickly. You can see that they've been digging up that side of the hill. It's a little hard to tell on camera. I'm going to try to get in there as much as I can, but you can see that they've been playing around in the dirt really close to the track. Well, I think the coaster car didn't clear that section like we thought it was going to clear. Like the envelope probably touched the side of the hill, because I was sent some videos online, people looking at the coaster car, and it looked like the envelope that is around the car itself, which is that like metal structure. It looked like that metal structure was touching the side of the hill. So it might have not cleared that section. So what they'll do is they'll write that down, and then they'll just start chipping away at that and get it all prepared for, you know, full-on testing. They might go through that one more time with another envelope test. They probably won't go through it with the current car that they have. They might go through just with a little makeshift envelope that they will have sitting backstage. And then they'll just, you know, they'll double check to make sure everything's good. What is pretty crazy though is it just goes to show how close we're gonna get to the ground. And obviously everything will be safe and ready to go by the time the ride opens, but when we're on the attraction, it's gonna look wild when we hug the terrain right here. I mean, this is the pure definition of an incredible terrain coaster. Now remember, don't let that worry you or anything. This is all part of the testing phase, and that's exactly why they do these envelope tests. They have to make sure the ground clearance is good, the calibrations are good. They also have to check the support columns nearby. I mean, there's so many different things that they have to do in this stage of the project to make sure they can move on to the next stage, which would be to hook all these cars up and do full train testing. And they're not just gonna send this thing through at full speed at first. They're gonna go really slow. They're gonna purposely stall it. They're gonna purposely launch it a little bit quicker, slower than usual. It's just all part of getting a new roller coaster ready, especially a roller coaster like this. This stuff is always fun to watch. It's one of my favorite aspects about brand new attractions. I love the construction part of it, and then like the programming and getting everything set up and ready to go for a grand opening. Like I've mentioned before in previous videos, I cannot wait for full-on testing. Like the testing phase of this is gonna be so much fun to watch, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this entire lookout area stays open so we can get some really good bird's eye views of the train making its way through the course. Now at their current pace, I wouldn't be surprised if they make their way all the way back up to the start of the ride by, 2 weeks from now? I think that's very plausible, because the rest of the layout is really not that complicated. They've made their way through all of the major elements on the ride. They've made it through the inline twist at the end. They've made it through the dive loop. They've made it through the corkscrew. They've done all the complicated stuff. So now they just got to get over the bunny hop and a few little bank turns, and that's it. Back up into the LSM launch at the start and into the station, and the pull-through test will be complete. Okay, I've made it to the other side, closest to the escalators, and yeah, we have some progress over here as well. We have these new steel columns that have shown up. This is like the outdoor queue portion, and then also they've installed all of this tile that is along the side of the concrete wall here. You can see where they have stopped for the day. But yeah, that's looking good, and I'm sure they'll have some sort of plan for the bottom half of this. And then looking off in the distance there, our first signs of greenery. A new palm tree has appeared in the outdoor queue area. Now, when it comes to these supports, there hasn't been any new progress on these. I'm wondering if they're just waiting for the pull-through test to be completed. And, because they still need to get to this section right here. This is the last part of it that they need to do, and then maybe once they get over here, then they'll resume, because remember, these are all for the shield, this thing right here, that will go over the coaster track, some portions of the track, to help with the sound dampening. So this right here will hold up the structure that will go right over here. Okay, there's a really good shot of what I was talking about earlier. So they'll make something that looks like that, and then they'll put that metal piece that surrounds the coaster car around it, and then they'll just probably go through that section of track one more time. Or they might not even need to do that. They've probably did the clearance and they're like, okay, we're good to go. Let's just work on making sure that it looks pretty. So yeah, but what a great shot of the coaster car making its way in reverse up the hill. This is gonna be a good drop, by the way. I think we're gonna get some pretty good air time. There is a trim brake right there. You can see like right here, but I don't know if that will affect our airtime that much. I think we're gonna get some pretty good airtime. Here's another beautiful shot of the test car making its way in reverse. Yeah, I love this stuff. I'm such a coaster nerd, and I know a lot of you watching are also coaster people and enjoy these updates, so thank you so much for those that are watching the Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift updates. Yeah, this stuff is cool. I mean, look at this. This is awesome. And you'll also see the other side of the sound wall. Now, they'll go ahead and put up that scrim over all of that steel so it doesn't look too crazy. I am kind of bummed that they're just going to cover it, but you know, that's the price we have to pay because this theme park is surrounded by a working movie studio, so they got to do what they got to do. Moving on from Fast and Furious, here's your latest look at the Hillside. But first, Halloween Horror Nights. Yeah, this is the Jason themed haunted house, and the facade is looking good. It looks like they're pretty much done with the facade. You can see that they're starting to hook that bad boy up with some audio and lighting. I think that's going to look really cool. I can't wait to see it with all the fog and all the show lighting turned on. I have a feeling this one is going to be pretty darn scary because I remember when I went as a guest in 2010 before I started working the event. Don't worry, I'm not working it this year. I'm taking a break. But when I went in 2010, they had a Jason themed haunted house, and that haunted house scared me so much. And you know, I know every trick in the book, but that one, I was jumping left and right. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is the best ever. So I really hope that this one ends up being just as scary as the one that they had in 2010. That was so much fun. Alrighty, that's pretty much gonna do it for the HHN talk. Let's talk about this right here, the retaining wall project. Let's make our way down a couple of the escalators so we can get a better shot of this. Oh yeah, here's a great shot of the retaining wall project. You can see rebar is going in too, so we're gonna see a very similar treatment to what Fast and Furious was going through just a few months ago with its retaining walls. So there's gonna be a lot of concrete going in. And they've made really good progress because that means they can start paving this over in time for Halloween Horror Nights. They have to get a lot of this area cleared out and ready to go for egress. So that way people can walk in and out of the haunted house. And of course, emergency vehicles can get back here if they need to. So huge shout out to the construction crews working on this project. Okay, just got off the studio tour and got some really good views of the HHN construction happening on the lot. First up, the haunted house behind Jurassic World, shaping up very nicely. The facade is still very interesting. I have no idea what this one is supposed to be, but I'm sure we'll hear an announcement very, very soon. And then moving to T-Pad, yeah, Scarecrow is looking fantastic. The details are incredible, just like the last time it was here at Halloween Horror Nights. So super excited for this one. And we recently just learned some new information about Scarecrow. It's actually going to be slightly tweaked this year because the music for the haunted house will be done by Slash. This will be his 7th time doing the music for some of the haunted houses at Halloween Horror Nights, and that's really cool. And then when it comes to the Terror Tram experience, yeah, it's looking very similar to last year's experience. And I actually do like how they add a little bit more to it than just kind of the same old, same old. So really stoked to see the final product. And yeah, they're moving very, very quickly because again, like I've mentioned in previous update videos, they don't really have that much time to get this all set up. About 4 weeks, well actually a little bit less time, about 3 weeks and some change to get it all done and ready to go because they also have to train the castmates that will be, working the Terror Tram experience. And now that I've finished up with Tram, it's time to head on out. That's gonna do it for today's Universal video. Now I'm gonna close out today's video from the top of the ET parking structure because you can get a really good view down into the back lot where, look at this, they are getting ready for a production. Super exciting stuff. You see they are filling up the lagoon. Now, this is usually where they film some pretty big ocean scenes. So they've filmed Jaws here, they've filmed Sully in this lagoon, and they've done a bunch of other productions. It's pretty cool because they'll have the performers do their thing right there, and then in post, they'll start to work on the background, and that's what this is for. Usually it's blue or sometimes it's green, but in this instance, they've painted it white. So that might be easier for them to work with in post. So yeah, really exciting stuff happening at Universal Studios. Again, this is an active movie studio. This is real. This is not just some facade that they say, you know, oh yeah, this is a movie studio. No, this is legit. They film a bunch of movies and television here all the time, and this one in particular, this is a huge set. I mean, and look at all the stuff happening over here too. And I'm sure this view will be blocked off once they start filming. So they could keep everything a secret. But yeah, this is always really fun to see. But with that, that's going to do it for today's video from Universal Studios Hollywood. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can let me know by smashing the thumbs up button. And if you're new to the channel and you love these updates from Universal or some of your other favorite theme parks, well, you should consider subscribing because I have brand new videos every single week that you won't want to miss out on. Down below, you'll find the links to my Instagram, my X account, and also my second channel. Be sure to check that out. And if you want to directly support the channel and all my future endeavors, well, you can find the link to that down below as well. But until the next video, I hope you have a beautiful day, morning, evening, whatever it is. I'll see you next time in the parks. Bye.